we also want to examine why it is that Muslims today believe that they don't have to keep the Torah. They say they follow the Prophet Muhammad. We know clearly from references in the Quran and in Hadith that the Prophet followed the Torah. But today you won't find Muslims following the Torah. They actually fight hard against it. Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri told me that he had heard a learned man of Muzayna telling Sa'id bin al-Musayyib that Abu Hurairah had told him that Jewish rabbis had gathered in their school when the apostle came to Medina. A married man had committed adultery with a married woman, and they said, "Send them to Muhammad and ask him what the law about them is and leave the penalty to him." Okay? This also proves that Muhammad was also an Israelite. Okay? Because a non-Israelite is not permitted to wield judgment in the law. Now, it says that if he prescribes tashbih, which is scourging with a rope of palm fiber smeared with pitch, and the blackening of their faces, mounting on 2 donkeys with their faces to the animal's tail, then follow him, for he is a king, and believe in him. Now listen to this. If he prescribes stoning for them, he is a prophet. So beware lest he deprive you of what you hold. They brought the pair to Muhammad and explained the position. The prophet walked to meet the rabbis in the schoolhouse and called on them to bring out their learned men, and they produced Abdullah bin Surya. One of the Banu Qurayza told me that Abu Yasir and Wahab bin Yahuda were with them, and the apostle questioned them so that he got to the bottom of their affair until they said, pointing to Abdullah bin Surya, "This is the most learned man living in the Torah." So let's skip forward and let's see what the judgment of the prophet was. So Salih bin Qaizan from Nafi, freedman of Abdullah bin Umar, from Abdullah bin Umar, told me when the apostle gave judgment about them, he asked for a Torah. A rabbi sat there reading it, having put his hand over the verse of stoning. Abdullah bin Salam struck the rabbi's hand, saying, "This, O prophet of Allah, is the verse of stoning which he refuses to read to you." The apostle said, "Woe to you Jews, what has induced you to abandon the judgment of Allah, which you hold in your hands?" They answered, "The sentence used to be carried out until a man of royal birth and noble origin committed adultery, and the king refused to allow him to be stoned. Later, another man committed adultery, and the king wanted him to be stoned, but they said, 'No, not until you stone so-and-so.' And when they said that to him, they agreed to arrange the matter by tashbih, and they did away with all mention of stoning." Now listen to what the apostle says, and this also proves his prophethood once again. The apostle said, "I am the first to revive the order of Allah and his book." What book? Torah. And to what? Practice it. They were duly stoned. And Abdullah bin Umar said, "I was among those that stoned them." So here once again we have confirmation that Muhammad was following the Torah. What excuse do we have today amongst those who profess to be following Muhammad and practicing Islam? Torah is the law of Islam. And so the hypocrites and the liars like to always talk about how Muhammad abused the Jews and all this and that. But actually, Muhammad was carrying out what was written in the Torah against his people for the witchcrafts and the conspiracies that they were working. But there were plenty of people from the house of Israel that followed the prophet that was prophesied to come to them. And amongst those people was a Jewish rabbi named Abdullah bin Salam, okay, from the tribe of Banu Kainuka, okay, which was a Jewish tribe, okay, a Jewish Arab tribe. Okay, so what we have to understand here is that we find him confirming Muhammad's position on the law. And he says to his auntie, "Indeed, aunt," I said, "he is the brother of Moses and follows his religion." What was the religion of Moses? The religion of Moses was the Torah. Now watch this. Being sent with the same mission. What was the mission of Moses? To free the children of Israel. And so once again, we find it clearly mentioned in the Torah that Muhammad enjoined the Torah on all of his followers and on all believers. قُلْ يَا أَهْلَ الْكِتَابِ لَسْتُمْ عَلَىٰ شَيْءٍ حَتَّىٰ تُقِيمُوا التَّوْرَاةَ وَالْإِنْجِيلَ وَمَا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكُم مِّن رَّبِّكُمْ وَلَا يَزِيدَنَّ كَثِيرًا مِّنْهُم مَّا أُنزِلَ إِلَيْكَ مِن رَّبِّكَ طُغْيَانًا وَكُفْرًا فَلَا تَأْسَ عَلَى الْقَوْمِ الْكَافِرِينَ. Say, O people of the book, you have no ground to stand upon unless you stand fast by the what? The Torah, the law, the gospel. Okay, that's the message of Jesus, and all the revelation that has come to you from your Lord, including Quran. It is the revelation that comes to you from your Lord that increaseth in most of them their obstinate rebellion and blasphemy. And such is the case today. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَالَّذِينَ هَادُوا وَالصَّابِئُونَ وَالنَّصَارَى مَنْ آمَنَ بِاللَّهِ وَالْيَوْمِ الْآخِرِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا فَلَا خَوْفٌ عَلَيْهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ يَحْزَنُونَ. So those who believe, okay? Now, they put in here in parentheses Quran and the Jewish scriptures, but we also understand that that's implied because it is not in the Arabic. It says, Inna ladina amanu, those who believe, okay, and those who have been guided, and the Sabians and the Christians, okay, who believe in Allah in the last day, and who work righteousness, on them shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. Once again, this is confirmation that we are all to be keeping the Torah. And the Jews confirmed that Muhammad was a prophet.